Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is on the preview about Forecasting 11 Weather Episode 1. Episode 1 of Forecasting 11 Weather begins with Hakyong trying desperately to get through her partner, Kijun. He's running late and her mother isn't exactly pleased. Instead, she brings her daughter to a fortune teller. Apparently, Hakyong has no happy ending in her future. Just as she leaves, the fortune teller advises Hakyong to take an umbrella, admitting that it's going to rain. Rain, my foot. Hakyong scoffs and leaves the umbrella behind. Hakyong stops by Kijun's house before heading to work. He's changed the passcode and claims to be feeling better after a cold shower. However, Hakyong is called away urgently by work before she can probe further. Hakyung works at the Korea Meteorological Administration, and it's here we learn a little more about the people she works with. One of those happens to be a lady called reporter Che, who's picked up by her overenthusiastic boyfriend Siwoo. His new car is slow, and their time together is awkward as they head out for a drink. It's clear she's not into him, but he can't seem to pick up on the signals. Just like that, though, it starts hailing. The fortune teller was right. Does that mean she was right about the sad ending for the Hakyong too? Anyway, the onslaught of hail sees the meteorological station abuzz with drama. Specifically, they find a signal that seems to hint toward this occurring, which was missed initially. This is pretty serious, and this lapse in judgment has caused major damage across the area. With the reporters outside, and Director Choi covering for the workers, Hakyung notices him clutching his chest in pain as he leaves and heads back to his desk. Choi soon collapses on the floor and passes out. It's another signal and something that references back to the name of this episode. As an ambulance arrives and takes him away, this leaves the spot open for the briefing, which Hakyung is immediately put on to the spot to attend. Meanwhile, Gubongchun arrives at the hospital to oversee Director Choi. It turns out he's been suffering from the high blood pressure for a while, and his wife is worried, pointing out that he's been struggling with the demands of work. She doesn't want him to lose out on a promotion just because of this single mistake. When Bongchun returns to the office, he tells the others to not visit him for the time being in order to keep Choi's stress levels down. And despite getting married in a month's time, Hakyung is put in charge temporarily. Meanwhile, Siwoo does some research of his own and realizes that the ground temperature in Gongwon is too high given it's only mid March. It seems to hint toward an oncoming storm, but when he radios it through, they class it as an abnormal reading and nothing to worry about. Siwoo is ad- adamant, and while the different satellite stations relay this data and claim it's temporary, he's adamant that it's a bomb of sorts, a storm that's about to develop. Eventually, Siwoo communicates directly with the head office and Hakyung to send over when he is found. Given Siwoo successfully predicted hail too, he believes that there will be heavy rainfall in the next 2 to 3 hours. It all comes down to Hakyung to decide what to do. With the threat of her wedding being cancelled looming over her, she eventually turns her phone off and decides to delay issuing a heavy rain warning for another hour. Siwoo is not happy and eventually defies her. There's a lot that goes into a severe weather warning like this, including numerous sandbags placed on the shorelines, drains unclogged, and even taps put over construction sites too. While all this is busy being prepared, Hakyung shows up to see Siwoo, who's clearly confident over his assessment. I mean, after all, Si means time, and Wu means rain. And wouldn't you know it, heavy rain suddenly pours down? He was right. That night, Hakyung switches her phone back on and realizes that her wedding plans have all been cancelled. What's going on with Kijun? With his phone switched off, Hakyung instead heads over to his place, letting herself in quietly. Unfortunately, He's been having an affair with someone else from work, and Hakyung witnesses that firsthand. Siwoo's world comes crashing down too when reporter decides to break up. It's something she's wanted to do for a while, but only now has she decided to follow through with that. We then jump to where 2 months later, director Choi is back up and running again and takes a stroll with Hakyung. Choi has resigned, deciding to be done with the meteorology, but he's relieved that Hakyung is stepping up to the plate. Unfortunately, this is all crashing down when Hakyung returns to work. Her ex-fiancé, Kijun, is going to be taking the role of director instead. Bongchun suggests she take a position working in dispatch training, but this would also mean leaving to head for Switzerland for a whole year. Although that year could be extended if she likes it there and decides to accept the role. When Hakyung heads home, she finds her TV missing. In fact, numerous other appliances have disappeared too. Well, it turns out this is Kijun's doing. He's taken a good deal of the most expensive appliances, claiming that he paid for half of the apartment, so they technically belong to him. Unfortunately, he's also going to take the apartment as well. Why? Well, it turns out the value of the property has gone up, leaving Hakyung stunned. Who knew meteorology could be so exciting? Forecasting love and weather airs every week on Saturday and Sunday with some solid drama. Interviewing that around the weather. With the heavy rainfall, this works to typify Hakyung's crazy emotional rollercoaster, while the bright sunshine is depicted for Siwoo reflecting his own mood. The title of the episode, Signal, is also indicative of seeing signals in your personal life as well as with the weather, which is especially evident when it comes to her earlier run in with Kijun and his flustered look. The signals were clear, she says, and obviously seeing that firsthand is the worst kind of betrayal. The heartbreak is indescribable unless you've actually experienced it yourself. Poor Hakyung though, the icing on the cake is Kijun wanting to take her own apartment and appliances off her hands. Hopefully, he gets some comeuppance for his actions in the upcoming episodes. Meanwhile, Sivu fails to see the signs from his disgruntled girlfriend and eventually ends up single too. Please do subscribe and share for more videos like this.